it's Monday the 7th.
Of
November, and I'm now getting calls from my friends on Wall Street. These are distressed debt people, and they're calling me saying, hey, these guys are in trouble. They're looking for rescue financing. And I had a call from his father. I picked up the phone. Joe, how you doing? He said, oh, well, we have a mismatch in assets.
That's what he said.
So he said, we have a mismatch in assets.
And what did that mean to you?
I didn't know. So I said, what does that mean, Professor? And he said, well, Sam's got the assets, but they're locked up, and we've got demand, and we probably need $1 billion to tide us over, sort of like bridge or rescue financing.
Do you think this is the same $1 billion we've been trying to raise in the Middle East?
Well, I probably didn't, at that moment, I probably didn't connect that, but I didn't think that was not doable. I said, okay, it's a big enterprise, $32 billion valuation. He's worth a lot of money, apparently. I'm sure we could probably find him $1 billion to tide this thing over until he can clear the transactions. That was 7 p.m. At 10:30 p.m., Joe called me and said it was $4.5 billion. So then I said, Joe, how did we go from $1 billion to $4.5 billion? He couldn't really answer that. I hung up the phone with him. I turned to my wife and I said, I'm canceling my meetings tomorrow. I'm flying to the Bahamas. I went to the office, and there was nobody there. And so I called one of his colleagues, not going to mention names, but a colleague got on the phone and said, I'm going to send my wife to get you. I got in the car with his wife, and she was hysterical crying. And she said, we have a very big problem. She didn't want to get into it with me. When I got to Albany, the apartment resort, I went into Sam had the penthouse, but he also had the downstairs where he was sort of like a field operation in there. When I walked in there, I then knew that we had a very severe problem.
How did you know?
Well, body language and context, and Sam.
Were people crying? Were people?
They're just tense, upset, some shock. Mm-hmm. And then Sam came over to me and said, everything's fine. I mislabeled some things, but I just got off the phone with CZ from Binance, and I just signed a non-binding deal with him. He's going to buy the company. And I said, okay, that would be great. He's probably the only person that understands these assets. And so I just looked at the guy. I said, all right, that would be a really good outcome. And then his general counsel said to me, hey, can I see you? I said, sure. We walked outside into the courtyard, and he said, listen, I don't know what to do. We violated the terms of service. We had a one-to-one. Sam testified to the Congress that it was one-to-one. We violated the terms of the service. I think we've moved $7.6 million.
Billion or million?
Billion from customer accounts into Alameda, which was a direct violation of our terms of service.
And this is like the first time you're hearing it?
It's the first time I'm hearing it. So then I said, okay. I said, listen, if that is the case, how on God's earth could you not have known about that? And then he explained to me that there were 3 or 4 people working closely, and they had manufactured some activity to make it look like that didn't happen, but it in fact had happened. And that's how he didn't know about it. And I said, well, listen, man, you're a young guy. You got to go to the Department of Justice and explain to them what happened. The very next day, he resigned. The whole legal team left the company. That very next day or that evening, Binance CZ said that he couldn't buy it, that it was a bigger mess than he thought. I thought he was a good guy. Okay, I did charity with him. We went to the FTX arena and talked to kids from underprivileged high schools in Miami. We were raising money and giving out scholarships to people, and his 83-year-old aunt was working on the charity with us. I like these people, and so it was astonishing to me what happened. And so what I would say to people here to really think about this from this perspective, it is not the things that you know, that you worry about, that get you in trouble. It's the things that you think you know with absolute certainty that you're dead wrong on.